How did you find out someone had a crush on you? I was giving him a ride home from a work function, and he jokingly brought up that our boss had mentioned the policy on coworkers dating because we came to the event together, but he thought he didn't have a chance in hell with me, his words, so that policy didn't matter. Well, I also had a crush on him, so it mattered very much, lol. We're married now. A girl from one of my courses asked me if I wanted to bake cookies with her. I, a professional dumbass, was like, sure, I like cookies. A friend informed me that I had just agreed to a date. It was okay. The cookies were pretty good. She left her phone number on my car windshield randomly. My wife didn't find it very amusing. They waited until they no longer had a crush on me and then told me that they used to have a crush on me. Sometimes people just say that to cover for the fact that they still have a crush on you. Yes, but also some people legit wait until it is too late and then confess now that there feels like no risk on their part. When I added her as friend on Facebook, her first message was, "Finally!" She sent me an email with norpographic photos with our heads pasted on them. She had been an internet friend that I had no romantic interest in and never flirted with. She never flirted with me either, so far as I could tell. We had talked for about 3 years, almost daily, but always platonic stuff. She was quite a bit older than me, and while I never told her this, I looked at her more like a fun aunt. I got a girlfriend, and when I told my friend about it, she absolutely flipped out. Cussed me up one side and down the other. Told me I had broken her heart. On and on and on. I was stunned. I apologized and told her I had just seen us as friends and hadn't meant to make her think it was anything more than that. That's when the Norp photos started showing up. And creepy. "This could have been us" messages. I'd blocked her on everything, which was like 2 things because this was 20 years ago. About a year ago, I got curious and looked up her name. She ran for and won a small government position in her hometown about 3 years back. Found some newspaper articles and discovered a few things. 1. She had been married for years. She had claimed to be single when we talked. 2. I had been 19 when we started talking. She had claimed to be 30. She had actually been 42. 3. She had kids that are older than me. Oh, so this is the kind of person I was warned about when using the internet in the early 2000s. The day after she went back to France, after being here for 8 months, my coworker was like, "Well, now that she is gone, I can tell you she had a massive crush on you." Still devastated to this day, I never picked up on it. She offered to carry my jacket to the next class when I had to stop at the bathroom. Went to the next class, and it was placed on the chair next to her, and her best friend said, "Your boyfriend is here." I was young and shy. Did nothing. Regretted it. She was amazing. I was honestly just happy being her friend. I opened my high school yearbook from my sophomore year and found a message from a friend that we should hang out together, and included her phone number. I only found it 18 years later, and I feel horrible that I didn't see it because it probably made me look like an ass and hurt her feelings. Similar thing happened to me. I was attracted to this girl, went to a party she was hosting, and I asked her to charge my phone for me. 4 years later, after she was engaged, I randomly go through my contacts, and she had saved her number in that phone and named it "Crush's name, call me." It was weird. I asked her out, and she said she was a lesbian, and I was crushed, but I respected it. Found out later from a mutual friend that she was lying, actually liked me too, and she quote said, "It wasn't in the plan for me to ask her yet." The mutual friend essentially said, "Dodge that bullet while you still have a chance." I realized she sent me nudes because she wanted me to see her naked, not because she wanted to discuss photography. I found this out 15 years later. Edit. I had it confirmed when we were speaking about our friendship. Wow, out of all the stories about men being clueless to science, this is one of the worst, or best. She called me and asked why I had never asked her out on a date. She knew I was interested because I had told some friends that I was, and they had told her. The reason I hadn't is because her brother and I were friends before I met her. When she called, I told her I'd be thrilled to take her out, but I wanted to make sure it was cool with her brother first. He was cool with it, and we've been together 18 years now. Dating a friend's sister could have turned out bad though, to be honest. She was a colleague who had heard I was leaving town. I wasn't, only going to be away for 2 weeks, and she took her chance by kissing me after we bumped into each other at a nightclub. It was a rare night off work for me. It's now 16 years and 3 kids later. So it worked out well for the both for us. Dang. Drunk or just really confident? She was slightly drunk and thought, what the hell, he's leaving, so if I don't go for it I'll never know. She took the gamble on the basis that had I not been into her she wouldn't have to see me again. I once had a girl introduce me to her friend like this. This is Tim. I have a huge crush on him, but he hasn't figured it out yet. I guess she'd gotten tired of waiting for me to figure it out, lol. I was pretty sure my friend's little sister had a crush on me when she started following me around like a lost puppy. Then she randomly started calling me by my first and middle name. Then she found out my birthday from someone and started telling me our age difference. It was kind of cute until she decided she should tell her friends that we were dating. We were not dating. I had a nice conversation with her letting her know that her crush was flattering, but she was way too young for me and that she needed to stop telling people that we were dating since it was not true and could get me in a lot of trouble. In true typical teenager logic, she said that her parents wouldn't have a problem with it, and I could date her if I wanted to. I was good friends with my crush. One night while texting he says, "We aren't just friends, right?" And that was the first time I realized even he has a thing for me and I wasn't just imagining the sparks between us. He was my first boyfriend. I don't think I'd have a relationship as healthy as that one. Why didn't it work out? My mental health was going bad and I had gotten very dependent on him. Meanwhile, we were also long distance. So we took a break, during which he met someone who was way healthier than me and made him happy. I had to let him go for both of our sakes. We were together for almost 5 years. I briefly danced with a girl at a high school dance, before she told me one song was enough and went to the restroom. A few weeks later a mutual friend asked what I thought about her. I said that she was nice and cute, but she was obviously not into based on the dance. He told me to give it another shot. I asked her out later that day and we ended up dating for about a year. When I was about 10, this girl in my class had a crush on me. She made it obvious, but I wasn't interested at the time. After school we never saw each other for a few years, then at 18 she apparently still had a crush on me. We've been married 18 years now. It's always rough when someone has a crush on you when you're young because it's a hard thing to process. For me, when it happened I didn't like it because I always kept thinking, I don't want to be a dad yet. When I was like 12, everything always felt so final. Woke up to her cuddling with me after a house party. Edit. We're friends of 10 years or more, drunk at a house party. She found me asleep and didn't want to risk driving, so she did the only thing she could think of. We were together for 3 years after that party, still friends too. Was leaving school one day and my small group of friends were hugging and saying bye when this girl that I was into but didn't know if she was into me raised her arms up and says, "What about me?" It was the best hug I've ever had. That was in 2005, we've been together ever since. I talked to her at an ice cream shop. She was working behind the counter. First time meeting her, and thought she was way out of my league. Had to be the prettiest girl I've ever seen. Red hair and blue eyes. No one else was there, and she was recommending different things. Got my ice cream and left. I noticed her smiling a lot at me, which I was never used to. I've never thought myself to be attractive and I didn't date growing up. Came back a few days later and just decided to ask her out randomly to my friend's party. She actually gave me her number, and we met up before the party at the park. Ended up getting dinner and going to the movies after. It was a very long first date, but we didn't seem to want it to end. 9 years later we are married and our baby just turned 1 year old. You never know till you ask. I had to be told due to my inability to pick up on any sign, signal, whatever. I had absolutely no idea that she liked me. Way too much risk when you read it wrong. My now husband and I were long-distance acquaintances at the time. He liked or commented on almost every social media post I had, sends me memes or a link to a song he likes. Waits for about half an hour before dropping a hi every time I come online. He told me he did this so he won't come off as stalkery. And unless he was super busy, never was the first to end a chat. This went on for 8 months before he finally said out loud he had a crush on me. I thought he was just being a chatty nerd like me. We were really drunk and just talking crap when he said, "God, I had such a crush on you growing up," and I replied with, "What the shit? I had a crush on you." Nothing else came of it, but I realized that I really don't know when someone is interested. I just assume I'm seen as a friend. Asked her out, she accepted and then told me she had a crush on me for some time. Sometimes you just got to go for it. You lose some, you win some. I was due in a couple weeks to move halfway across the country for my job, so I was hanging out with a local friend to say goodbye. That night I admitted I would have asked her out if I wasn't moving so far away. There was a moment of silence, and she responded with, "Yeah, I probably would have said yes, you're quite the catch." Later that night we're lying on her bed watching anime. She gets up to use the bathroom, so I stretch my arms out. She comes back, sees me stretched out, says, "Ooh, an arm!" and cuddles right up to me. We're dating now. We both had a crush on each other for 8 years. One day we were messaging and started sending random emojis. That then got sexual. She asked if we're still joking, which is when we both realized we weren't and that we should have started dating 8 years ago. So now we are. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.